I hate smart guitars, but today we may have found one that changes my mind. Welcome back to the Axe Guitar channel, your one-stop shop for budget guitar reviews and tremolo tips and tricks. For those of you that are new, my name is Nick. Today's video is special because we're reviewing a guitar that's kind of blending old school vibes with futuristic tech, and it's gonna try and get me to like smart guitars again. This right here is the Enya Sonic JT, which is actually Jack Thammarat's signature guitar. This thing is completely carbon fiber. It's futuristic, lightweight, and has a bunch of smart guitar and electrical features here that are rarely seen at this price point, which is just under $500 right now. This thing is on sale. So some quick background on Enya guitars. They're really known for making these alternative wood products like this carbon fiber one, and then also having onboard electronics and features and presets with a speaker on the front. And these onboard speakers have been improving with each generation and signature. So I'm interested to see how this one sounds. Now, getting right into the specs of this guitar, you can see this has kind of that sunburst finish right here. Then it's got a blue flare on the bottom, so it adds a bit of color. And then, like we said, this is completely carbon fiber. So the neck, the fretboard, and even the body here. And so while that's nice, it keeps it really light. And also, if you're gonna be playing outside or you live in like a humid environment, this thing is pretty weatherproof. So you're not gonna get a lot of the stuff that happens with wood. Now the body is a one-piece die-cast chambered construction, meaning that through here you have a bunch of different chambers. And Enya says this should help with the resonance and the sound of this guitar, but we'll find that out in the demo. So going up to the neck here, I guess you could say this is a neck through design since this is really all one piece, but then the neck profile itself is asymmetrical design, meaning that it's kind of more chunkier in a V shape up here at the lower frets. And then it goes to more of a modern C that's actually pretty thin, shred worthy down here at the higher frets. And can't forget to mention, because, well, I'm a shredder, this is a matte finish. It's actually a matte finish throughout the whole guitar, which is great, but the neck has a matte finish that's pretty fast and won't get sticky. Now going to the fretboard here, you can see right off the bat, we have that typical Enya inlay, and then there's the JT inlay here at the 5th fret. Pretty cool touch. But then we do have 22 frets here on a 25.5 scale. And these 22 frets are a nickel alloy. When you run your finger down the side, you can see that they have that 0 fret design. They're really smooth. Now I would say these frets are about a medium jumbo. They're not totally huge. They actually make the fretboard seem pretty flat, and you may or may not have to press pretty hard just to get the same resonance that you want out of other guitars, but we'll test that in the demo. Now the fretboard radius for this is about 17 inches all the way through. It's not a compound radius. This fretboard radius is similar to what you'd find on an Ibanez Genesis RG550. We got side dot inlays, but don't forget, we have a heel-mounted truss rod adjustment, which is huge. If you need to adjust the neck, this is always so much easier to have it here than having to undo the plate at the headstock and adjust that way. And Enya gives you the spoke tool that you need to make those adjustments when you buy this guitar, so that's nice. And as you can tell, this comes with kind of, I'd say like a black nickel kind of hardware here when we're talking about the tuners. And the tuners here are non-locking Enya branded tuners, and they're die cast at an 18.1 gear ratio, so that's getting pretty good. Coming down to the bridge, we have a Tune-o-matic style zinc alloy bridge, and this is a string through guitar, and Enya does us a favor by adding one of these rubber plugs, so this thing does become even more all-terrain or all-weather the more we check it out. So getting back to the bridge here, yeah, you heard me right, this is a zinc alloy bridge. At this price point, you're not really gonna get hardened steel products. But the thing that's cool about his Tune-o-matic bridge is that it's really, really easy to adjust with the 2 screws on the side. And this bridge on this particular guitar looks set up pretty well, and I love that kind of midnight black nickel finish. All right, now let's get into the pickups and the electronics, which really makes this thing shine and sets it apart from a lot of the other guitars on the market. As you can see here, this is an HH covered humbucker design, and it's got a 3-way toggle switch right in between the knobs, which we're about to get into. The bridge pickup is a custom ceramic magnet pickup, which really gives you that punchy kind of sound and cuts through the mix, what you really want on a bridge pickup. And then you go over to the neck pickup. This is an Alnico 5 magnet. These pickup choices are really interesting to me because yeah, the ceramic will give you what you want for like hard rock, and you know, I'm gonna push this thing to do some metal. But then the neck pickup, that Alnico, is typically, you know, a really good, warm, versatile pickup that can address a lot of different styles like jazz, rock, clean stuff. So I am interested to see where this guitar can go on the spectrum of those tones. Now, one feature I gotta talk about that's always a bonus to get on budget style guitars is the coil tap. This smart guitar actually comes with a coil tap. And you'll soon find out that this guitar just has a bunch of different features that creep up on you and that you can forget about, but are awesome for the price. All right, now let's get into the smart portion of this guitar. So right here, this little circular button right here, it's not just a volume knob. You click it, hold it down, and then you see a little green light that kind of lights up around the ring here. And now this thing is set up with presets and can play through this onboard speaker. So yeah, this thing is the volume knob, and then it's how you shift by clicking it through the different presets that give you different sounds that come through the speaker. So a long press to turn it on, and then you just shift through the presets by pressing the button. All right, so these onboard presets are great. You click a button, you cycle through the presets and the different tones, wonderful. But you might be wondering, Nick, how am I gonna hear this? Like I said before, this has a 15-watt onboard speaker. Now, the onboard speakers within the body is kind of like an Enya signature. I wouldn't say they've cornered the market on it, but it's something they're known for. And you know, I've had previous models and they've been making improvements on this speaker design. I had the Novago Sonic in white, and while I wouldn't say it's rudimentary, definitely that speaker had room to grow. And then we tried the Inspire by Enya, which was an improvement. So I'm interested to see how this one has kind of evolved over time. And then also, sometimes these Enya onboard speakers have had problems with feedback when you put up the overdrive, the native overdrive tones and like the preset that comes with it. It'll vibrate and kind of give you feedback. We'll see how they've improved with this model. And then one other little secret feature is that this speaker is actually Bluetooth compatible. So you can link this up to a device, play your tunes through it, and then jam along with it, which is something I actually do. Now, going into how this thing is powered and the inputs, it does have an onboard battery, and that is charged by this USB import right here. And this thing holds its charge for a while. I charged it when I initially got this and then didn't do the review for about 3 to 4 weeks after I received it, and it's still ready to go and charge and able to play. And then you'll notice you have a headphone jack here, so you can jam in silence. So you can set your presets and listen to it there. And then you have a 1/4-inch jack, which is really nice because how I use this thing is you can plug it straight into an amp like a regular guitar. This isn't a guitar that just has to be played through the speaker. It has that capability, but then you can plug this into any rig that you would do in a classic fashion. All right, enough talking. It's now time to demo this bad boy. And what we'll do is we'll take it through some clean tones, some overdriven and distorted tones, and then some lead tones, okay? We'll put it through initially plugged in, classic style, into my PV Invective mini head, and then after that we'll transition to see what the speaker sounds like, and then we'll go from there. But right before we get into this, don't forget to subscribe below so you don't miss any budget guitar reviews and tremolo tips and tricks. Let's do it! Okay, so now we're gonna test this thing with just its onboard speaker. And I have my mic, my SM57 here right up to the speaker so you can hear the actual audio that comes out of it. And we're just gonna test the 4 presets that this guitar comes with natively. There's gonna be no changes, even though you can go into the app and adjust those. I'm gonna go with what comes right out of the box. One thing before we wrap this up is I've kind of noticed that when you're playing with the speaker, it almost has, at least on the higher gain setting, kind of a native almost gate to it, which if you pluck the strings lightly, you can't even hear it. All right guys, that's the Enya Sonic JT. What'd you think? My initial thought after having this in my hand and playing it is that just like every Enya guitar, I really like the neck, the matte finish, and then how it gets pretty thin up here and you have good fret access as well. So as a shredder, metal player, I do like that feature. I mean, look at the cutaway here. Got a deep cutaway and you can get to that 22nd fret really easy. Now it does appear, at least on my demo, that the feedback mechanism has been improved a little bit. There was some feedback when we dial up the volume and those distorted tones, but it looks like they're on track to fixing this. And this guitar was definitely an improvement over the Novago Sonic, the original one. Now don't let me forget, these onboard presets and all these sweet smart guitar features go even further because Enya has a mobile app that allows you to go into it and adjust these presets and set them differently in terms of the EQ settings and things of that nature. So you have full control over the tone of these presets on the guitar. The app is super easy to use once you download it. Go in there and you can see the presets here, and then you can see all the extra little goodies that this app provides, which is also a great value when you consider how much this guitar really is. I also really like the overall look of this guitar and the block covered humbuckers. That's a nice touch, giving it kind of that classic, but also kind of updated modern look at the same time. Some areas where this thing falls short is that this is just 22 frets and the frets are kind of small. I would like them to be a little bit bigger just for my style of playing. I also would like the output of the bridge pickup to just be a little bit higher, but that's probably just a personal preference because I want high output everything, overdrive everything in my life. But in all seriousness, guys, this Enya Novago JT is a great budget guitar option because it has so many features. It feels good. It's got a matte finish throughout the entire body. It's carbon fiber, so you won't have to worry about much warping. It's got the coil split, which is a great option on a budget guitar. 3-way selector switch, and then all the onboard presets that you can control from the app and the, simplicity of your phone. Final thoughts is that I think this guitar is great for the traveler or someone that uses a guitar outside and a beginner as well. All right, guys, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments or what you think about smart guitars or the Enya brand in general. But also don't forget to subscribe below so you don't miss videos like this one. All right, y'all, catch you on the next video.